Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Omar from the Bullish Bears team. I just wanted to do a quick market recap from yesterday and really focus on one of the types of patterns that I say I trade in the momentum for beginners presentation that I did for everyone. Dip buys. I want to talk about dip buys. Dip buys, also known as gap fills. And Thursday, all the shipping companies actually had a good day, right? So I have this watch list and I called it shippers for Friday morning. And I wasn't sure I was going to trade. I actually traded drives. I'll go over that. But if we look through the 2 day, I'm going to put the 2 day, 5 day, 5 minute chart. You're going to notice that on Thursday, drives, which is a shipping company, right? I'll zoom in here and you notice that the market opened and it was running pre-market and it was running based on news, right? I told you that stocks move based on a catalyst, right? And on Thursday there was a catalyst. So the 15th, it was like about 8 a.m. There was some sort of catalyst. Doesn't tell me the time. Here it is. I think. Oh no, I'm sorry. This isn't it. This was I think it was the 15th. It was like around here. It dries, like, yeah, it announced that it had some sort of like refinancing deal, and based on that deal, you know, it made the stock move, right? That was the catalyst that made the stock move. So dries is like the main stock that kind of drives all the other shipping companies, because the stock went from like $4 to $120 in like 3 or 4 days, which is like insane. And based on that news, if you look pre-market, this is like when the news was announced, and it was about 9 a.m. And that caused the stock to go from, it opened at 355 and it hit a high of 409, and then it kind of got consolidated. It closed at 355, so it closed at the same price, and then it sort of kind of started gapping up, and then when the market opened, it just ripped, right? So this was happened Thursday, all right. And if you notice, the other shipping companies like GNK, okay, also ripped. It went from 675 to $9. All right. Sino, another shipping company. All right. It went from 285 to 447. These are what you call sympathy plays. So when one stock in a sector runs, all the other stocks in that sector tends to run. And for you newbies, you know, you're gonna start becoming very familiar with all of these companies, because you're gonna keep seeing them. That's why it's important to, like, even if you don't trade, kind of review what's gone on through the day, and keep reviewing the charts so you can kind of get a sense of what happenings, right? So Friday morning, someone in the group asked me if I was going to trade, and I wasn't sure if I was going to trade Friday morning. I said it kind of all depended on, like, if I saw anything happening market open. So let's talk about what happened Friday. So Friday market opened, and we'll go to the 1 day 1 minute chart, and I'll zoom in here. So what happened was, and this was my concern, I told somebody in the group, I think it was INL. I think I said, you know, my expectation is that these shipping companies are gonna probably sell off today, because what happened was pre-market, it started ripping. So pre-market, it was like down as low as like 563, and it gapped up. And this was about, what time is this? 8 a.m. Friday morning, and it went from 563 to 624. Nice, beautiful run along the 9 EMA, right? With the little pullback here, you see the little bull flag, and then it erupts, and then it moves away from the 9 EMA, then, you know, pulls back here, and then it kind of sells off a little bit, and people are taking their profit, and then it hits VWAP, and then it kind of, you know, moves again from like 594 all the way up. And then what happens? The market opens, and let's zoom in here real close so you can see. The market opens at 9:30, and this immediately sells off. It goes from 615 all the way to 550 in a matter of, what time was this? This was 4 minutes. Now, I told you guys in my presentation that we look for dip buys, right? So let's say your expectation was that this stock was going to move higher when the market opened, and it does it, and you see it automatically sell off. Stay watching it, because what did I say? When we do look for dip buys, we look for stocks that sell off dramatically in minutes. They move from, like, you know, like it did here. It went from 615 to 550 in a matter of a couple of minutes, and you're looking for it to find its support, because it's gonna, once it finds its support, you're gonna buy the bounce, and this is where the bounce happens. So what I did was I was watching the stock, And I said, okay, let me see where it's gonna find support because it's selling off real fast. Think of it like a rubber band. When you stretch it one way up too much or one way down too much, it bounces back. It may not snap back all the way up, but you're gonna get a little bounce. So what I did was I was watching the stock, and once I saw it found its support right around here, and I saw it that it was starting to build momentum back up, and I was starting to see a lot of buyers come in on level 2. I knew that this was the bounce because it wasn't going down anymore. It wasn't selling off. So I got executed right in here, and I rode it back up. All right, I got executed. I think it was like, I don't know, 551, and I rode this all the way back up. And let me just zoom out here a little bit. And I rode this all the way back up, and you see now it's pulling back a little. It's pulling back, but it's still going up. And I'm watching the RSI. The RSI, remember when I said that when it's below 30, it's oversold. Okay, all right, and that means that people are gonna buy. So all these levels where we're saying, hey, you know what? This may be a buying opportunity. Now here, the MAC2Ds, this is still very bearish, but because I saw it found support, and that's why level 2 is so important. You look to see, right? There were more, like for example, right now. There's more buyers, 491. There's 178 buyers at 91 cents and 20 sellers on the ask for 499. So that means they're going to drive the price of the stock up a bit. And when you look at the time of sales tape, you know when the numbers are going up, you know that the price is going to start going up. So when I saw that, I got in and I just rolled this up. All right, I just rolled this up. And you notice like right around here, it was bullish. All right, but I actually wrote this up all the way up to about 590, and about somewhere actually, this is like, I think it was like I saw it pull back, but I was still comfortable in, and I think right around this candle I sold off right before 6, only because $6 is a psychological resistance barrier, and you know I was okay with making. I think I made like 30 cents or something like that. I don't remember exactly how much. I made about $350. But I did that in a matter of a few minutes, and people look for these exact plays. And not only did it happen with Drive, it happened with other stocks. But just to remind you that $6 is a psychological resistance barrier. Once it broke 6, it actually could have stayed in it, but I was okay with getting out. But it hit a high of 615, and then it sold off. It sold off. It started selling off again, and it just sold off. And then, you know, it hit this little bull, and then it kind of sold off, and it rolled up a little and then just broke down. It just broke all the way down. You could have shorted this all the way down after 6. Especially once you saw the MACD lines roll over. It would have been a perfect opportunity. You see the parabolic dots. Remember, when the dots are above the candles, that's bearish. And when they're below, that's bullish. And once it was here, and you see that the candles are all below the actual indicators, that's all beautiful signs to short the stop. All right? And you could have shorted this all the way back down to below. You could have made a whole dollar shorting this, which is pretty incredible. I got out and I didn't trade after that, but I should have. I mean, a lot of people made money trading this stock. And if you notice, a couple other stocks did the same thing. If you saw GNK, which is another shipping company, right? They didn't have a lot of volume. That's why it looks so dead here. Let's look at the 5-minute chart. Looks a little better. But you're going to notice here the market opened, and it kind of actually, you know, it actually first, it got some buying pressure here. So it went from like 889 all the way up to about 918 in about 20 minutes. So you could have made some money on the up. But then what happens? It sold off. It went from 915 all the way down to 829. It just it just collapsed. And if you're watching this pre-market, let's go 2 days, 5 minutes. In the pre-market, the MACD actually started rolling over. It started showing the bear sign. Even though this was riding up, the MACD was actually corrected. That's why I think it's such a powerful indicator. It was saying, hey, you know, this is a false breakout. Look, it's separated. And look what happened. It did exactly what it said it was going to do. As you see these two indicators get separated, that's a super bearish sign. And the parabolic dots were above the actual bars. So it was setting up for failure. And we had a couple of ESCA. ESCA, the market opened, and look what happened. Sold off. Sold off. Look, it sold off at 9:30. It opened at 280, closed at 245. By 9:35, these are 2 5-minute candles. Let me put the 1-minute candle so you can see a little easier. But look what happens. It sells off, right, in the first 3 minutes. By 9:32, actually, it went from 292 to 261. It found its support here, and you could have got in somewhere in the 260, 270 range and rolled this back up to 270, and it kind of consolidated, and it kind of goes down, and then it just runs up, and then it kind of just goes up a little bit, and then then it kind of just crashed. All right. So once you see one company kind of like die, all the rest are gonna just fall off the planet. All right, they all run in unison. So I mean, all these stocks you could have shipped them. Look at Sino. As soon as the market opened, it just collapsed. It just completely collapsed. And let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see as well. So you see it sort of collapse. It opens up at 406, and it just sort of collapses. It finds its sort of support level down around here at 370. And then it kind of does this little dip, little bounce up from 370 to a high of 387. So it doesn't seem like it, but you could have made 10 cents here if you were quick. And 10 cents could be a lot, 10 cents could be a little. If the stock is at, opening range is at 374, and let's say you get executed at 375, and you rolled this up to like 385, you could have made 10 cents. And, 10 cents could be a lot. Let's say you had, 5,000 shares, it's $500, so, you could make some quick money if you got a sizable account. And then it kind of like sold off here, and then it rolled up, and you're going to see that the RSI, this is way oversold. So it was, and you see the MACD lines rolling over, and here's where you could have just kind of rolled this up. If you were watching this closely, you kind of went from 370 all the way up to a little over $4, and then sold off again. Because remember, whole numbers are psychological resistance barriers, and it just kind of died down. So you could have went short and held this all day. You could have went from the, you could have just did and just to make it look clear, I'll just put it here just so you can see it in my stocks to trade account. You could have did the green to red play. So as soon as, and I'll just put on a 5-minute chart so you can see. So if you wanted to do sort of like a swing strategy, once the stock broke 397, you could have used like $4 as your stop loss, and just shorted it and just let it ride down, and then moved your stop loss. So when the stock came around down here, you could have just moved your stop to like 350 and just see what it was gonna do the rest of the day, and you would have been up because it closed at like 337, So that's another strategy, because I'm gonna start doing that more. I'm gonna start just when I see stocks go below, for shorting purposes, I'm just gonna use the number. I'm gonna set the trigger so that once it dips below, it goes from green to red. I'm just gonna automatically trigger the short and see how that works out. Just to try that strategy out a bit more. So, that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about, how, when a lot of these stocks, they collapse, you have that dip buy opportunity. So you could have got a small dip here, right? If you look at here, it went from, the low here was 366, and then it went back up to $4. So, so there's a lot of dip buy opportunities, and that's what you could have. So you could have dip bought it here. What you make sure you do is once you see it find its support level, you just put a line, just put a quick little line, and now this is a support level, okay? And you're just riding this back up, all right? And once you see the reversal, and the way the reversal is happening is that, you're looking at level 2 in the time and sales. You're also looking at your indicators to help you, and you just take your quick profit. What I usually do is I'll take like 10 cents, 15 cents, and I just sell. I'm okay with that. I don't need to make maximum return. I just want to be profitable. And that's the key when you're buying these stocks. Really quickly too, I just want to say one last thing. I wanted to talk about how when stocks move quickly, they sell off. I think let's look at OPG, and was it XGTI? Let's see XGTI. Maybe it was that one. XGTI. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this. Let's do the 2-day 5-minute chart. All right, so look what happens here, right? The stock opened Friday here, and it's just sort of like doing nothing, right? And this is a 5-minute chart. Actually, I'll put a 1-minute chart. Here we go. Zoom in. All right, so sort of running sideways, okay? And then what happened? Somewhere they got a contract, and there was some contract They were awarded a contract from Tesla. So once that news broke, that drove the price of the stock up, and it went from 274 all the way up to 425. But then look what happens, okay? And let me just zoom out, just so you can see it. I'm gonna put the 5-minute chart, just so you guys can see a little easier. Why is it doing this? So weird. 1 day, 5-minute chart. Zoom out. I don't know why it's doing this. Let me move this over. Oh man. Let's zoom in here. I don't know why it's doing that. But here, right? It hits 425 and then it sells off. Alright guys? Look what it, and then it hit, once it hit its peak. So remember, just like when stocks go down really fast and they have that bottom bounce, it's the same thing when they go up really fast. So this stock went from, let me just zoom out again. This stock went from, it started running here. It went from 257 to 425 in a matter of, by 10:50, it started running by 11:20. It was already hit its peak. At that point, guys, the stock starts to sell off. And here, let me just make this one chart. It starts to sell off, you know? Oh man, I'm sorry. It starts to sell off, okay? You see the reversal happen? So don't go chasing stocks. Remember, if a stock rips, it's going to have a pullback. And remember, these stocks, again, I can't stress this on, they're dog shit companies. Don't expect them to go to the moon, all right? And once you saw that MACD roll over, you could have went short, and you could have made a lot of money shorting this all the way back down. All right, so I just wanted to kind of review that with you so that you guys are all aware of how all this stuff works. And, you know, if you have any questions, you know, hit me up on the actual group, and I hope you find this useful. All right, have a great weekend, everyone.